Now, for the next several weeks, we're going to be walking through what is it that makes God say very good. This morning, I just want to title this kickoff message in this series, God's Design from the Beginning. God's design from the beginning. God's original vision for creation wasn't just good. God's design for creation from the beginning, he said it himself, was very good. When God uses this two-word phrase, very good, I don't think we can grasp how deeply sin has fractured our lives. How deeply sin has fractured all of our relationships. How deeply sin has fractured our community and the world that we live in if we don't first stand and stare at the beauty of what God intended and designed when he stood over his work on the sixth day and uttered the two-word phrase, very good. As we work our way through this series, we'll discover that at the fall that God's very good became corrupted. Very good was turned inward. It was poisoned by self-interest. And everything that was designed by God to work in harmony became bent towards disharmony. Everything that was supposed to work in flourishing, giving life, began to work in decay. But in Jesus and in his church, 1 Corinthians tells us God is reconciling all things back to himself. The Bible tells us that God is actively restoring everything that was lost. And God is reclaiming his very good creation. Pick up with me. Genesis chapter 1. As we plunge into this revelation of what God calls good, what God calls very good. I'm probably going to read more scriptures in your hearing right now than you've ever heard read in a public service, but I think it's important to lay a foundation for what God is intending to do with our minds, with our hearts, with our eyes, with our appetites, with our expectations, with our hopes. So buckle in with me and pick up in Genesis chapter 1 and find, if you would, the very first verse, Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was, let's do that again. And God saw the light, that it was, and God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. Then God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." Thus God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day. Then God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear," and it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth." And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed was in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the third day. Then God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it was so. Then God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule over day and over night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the fourth day. Then God said, let the waters abound with an abundance of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens. So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, which the waters abounded according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth. So the evening and the morning were the fifth day. Then God said, let the earth bring forth the living creatures according to its kind, cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth, each according to its kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Good is a holy word. Good is a holy word because God is holy. God is completely set apart. He's not simply just some better version of us. God is other. God is distinct. God is set apart. He's in a category all by himself. He's not created. He is the creator. God is perfectly pure. God is light. There is no darkness in him. There is no sin in him. There's no evil in him. Everything that God touches becomes holy. Doesn't become holy because it's perfect. It becomes holy because it's set apart. He touched Isaiah's lips when he said he couldn't talk, and he touched him with a coal and made his mouth holy. He took man and woman, created the institution of marriage and set it apart and made it holy. When God makes something holy other than himself, it doesn't mean that in that moment it's perfect. It means he set it apart. He's consecrated. He's separated it to fit his design and to fit into his purpose. When God calls creation good, good is holy because he has chosen creation and set it apart for his purposes. When he calls his creation good, good is holy because it reflects his perfect will and design. It functions exactly as he purposed it. When God declares good over light and land and creeping things and animals, he's not simply making an observation. He is consecrating them. He's setting them apart as part of his holy work. When God declares good, he's not simply admiring his own work. When God declares it good, he is affirming the fact that this reflects my holy design. This reflects my holy intent. This is functioning just the way I designed and imagined it to function. It is good. Good is a holy word. Be careful when you use the word good. When God uses the word good, he means it's functioning just as he designed. When God uses the word good, it's functioning just as he intended. When God used the word good, it is a holy word because he's saying that everything is functioning as I intended for it to function. Good is a holy word. Run back with me to the text. Pick up in verse 26, if you would. Then God said, let us make humanity, mankind, in our own image, according to our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created mankind, humanity, in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them. And God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. And God said, see, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it shall be for food. I wish I had time, but don't you make yourself a vegetarian over just reading this verse. There's more here. Also, to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth in which there is life, I have given every green herb for food. And it was so. Then God saw, here it is, then God saw everything that he had made. And indeed it was. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day. See, God's declaration over his whole creation, when he saw everything that he made, when everything was set in its place, when everything was set in its function, when everything took its part in his design, God then now declares over his whole creation, it is very good. When God speaks of goodness in his design and its function and its purpose, but when he speaks of very goodness, it's the culmination of everything. Some have taught that when God says very goodness, he reserved that for the sixth day because that's the day that he made mankind, and he was saying that mankind was very good. That's not the whole truth. It's a partial truth, so it's not true. What he was really saying was that when you see how everything functions, when you see how I designed everything to work, and now everything is working and functioning. I'm done my project. And when he used the word very good, the word tav meod in the Hebrew, what he was talking about was the functionality of everything, the interdependence of everything, the working together of everything, the harmony of everything, the holy purpose of everything working together as he intended and designed. When God saw that, at the end of creation, he said, very good. Very good is not about the individual goodness of anything. Very good is about the interdependence of everything. If you rightly understand that, then it's impossible for us to be very good on our own. It's why the idea of individualism is so satanic at its root. We don't even find I being used the way that it was until we see Lucifer with the 5 eye wheels of Satan when he says, I will be like the Most High. I will ascend into the heavens. I will. It was the antithesis of what God called very good. Because very good is not about I, very good is about us. Very good is about the interdependence and the harmony and the woven together and the fabric of his creation. You can't pull out one thread and call it good. You can't tell it's good until it's all woven together to make something. Very good is a relational term. It It's pointing at the potential that is revealed when all the parts function together in harmony, just as God designed and intended. Just shout, very good. See, it's relational goodness between God and humanity. Very good. It's relational goodness between humanity and humanity. But without God and humanity, there's no relational goodness between humanity and humanity. Very good is relational goodness between God and humanity, humanity and humanity, and then humanity and creation. Humanity abuses the creation and one another when relational goodness with God is not working together. Very good is the harmony of it all. If you try to break out one piece, you break it all. Because what makes it very good is the working together of it all. It's the idea of a saxophonist deciding to play hip hop when everyone else is playing jazz. You can't say it sounded good because it broke the harmony. It's no longer working together to create what the songwriter had in mind. It can't be good because good talks about the design of the interdependence and the working together and the function of each part together that brings the flourishing of the whole. Very good. And very good is the divine affirmation of God. Be careful what you call very good. Those are holy words. Those are words that are first mentioned and uttered out of the mouth of God. In the book of Genesis is the first time we see the word good mentioned in the Bible. And when that word is mentioned, it's God saying that everything's in the place it's supposed to be, working together the way it's supposed to be. We ought to have trembling lips when we get ready to call something good. I'm not saying you can't use the word anymore, but you should have more reverence around it. I've learned to. When God says it's very good, it's him saying that all is as all should be. All is as all should be, and how it should be is in the mind of God. It's not in my mind, it's not in your mind, it's not even in our mind. When all of mankind got together and tried to do it just humanity and just humanity with creation, they created a Tower of Babel. No, it's God with humanity, it's humanity with humanity, and it's humanity with creation. That's what's very good. We can't do very good on our own. Truth be told, we can't even do good on our own. Because good is a holy word. Run with me to Genesis 3 and 6. Is it all right if I just lay a foundation today? Is it all right if God just lays something that he's going to build upon in our lives today? I'm not even going to be before you long, but this is a time-release capsule that God is setting in us right now. This is something that as I meditate on it, as I mutter on it, it literally begins to bring my whole life back into alignment. Because since we think we can divine good and define very good, we're off running trying to make stuff good when good ain't ours. Good belongs to God. Genesis chapter 3, verse 6. So when the woman saw that the tree was, you missed your part. So when the woman saw that the tree was for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate. She also gave to her husband, who was standing right there with his fork and knife out and with his napkin on his neck. Said, you better give me some of that, girl. And he ate. It's the first time that we now read in the scriptures good being used by someone else other than God. And now humanity is defining what good is, but they're calling something good that God never called good. See, when humanity abandoned its holy design and purpose, the very goodness was lost. Somebody just say very good. See, humanity's role, our place, our part, from the beginning until now, it doesn't change. Somebody said in their testimony, Jesus Christ the same today, yesterday, and forever. God is not fickle. He's not finicky. He doesn't change his mind. His stuff don't go out of style. What he puts in place from the beginning of time to the end of time. It doesn't wear out. He doesn't need the new iPhone. He's got what he makes last and endures and is fruitful and flourishes forever. Just his statement, let there be light, is still ringing throughout creation. The vibration of his voice still has the moon where he said it in the beginning, still has the sun where he said it in the beginning. When he establishes something, it's established forever. You can work against it, you can try to redefine it, you can do what you want, but it won't break him, it'll break us. Because he's set apart. He's other. He's not just a better version of us. He's God. Humanity's role in God's very good creation was and is to receive and reflect his character, to steward, to manage over creation and its holy harmony. As his, here it is, image-bearing representatives. Do you know that owners act a lot different than stewards and managers? You ever borrowed something that belonged to somebody else? I mean, you clean it up when you're done with it, and you get it right back in its package the way it goes to everything. You try to bring it back in a better condition than it came. About a month ago, I borrowed the pickup truck of Brother Sean Chester that goes to TPC. I don't have a pickup truck. He has a nice pickup truck. Don't ask him, can you borrow it? He just let me use it. And I said, Sean, can I use your truck, man? It was Best Buy had a President's Day, a Black Friday sale. Those sales are real. They had a Black Friday sale. And so I got 2 TVs. And I couldn't even bring them home. You ever see something so, anyway, I'm getting off track. I just went crazy. I didn't know how I was going to get it home. I was like, look how cheap these are now. And then now I don't want the delivery. I'm going to get it myself. And I asked Sean, and Sean said, yeah, you can use it, Pastor. No problem. When do you need it? I told him I'll come by and get it. Just leave my car in front of your house. I'll go get it, And I go over to Best Buy because I was stewarding. I was managing. I didn't own the truck. Go over to Best Buy. Now, Sean has this beautiful trunk liner or bin liner on his truck. It's like leather. I don't even know how that works in the rain. But so I just said, man, don't take the cover off because it's not mine. I don't even know how to put it back on. I said, just pull down the lift gate and slide them in there like that. Guy comes out. He's like, I got you, bro. Don't worry. And he puts in the first one. And then after he put in the first one, he brings out the other one. He said, man, I really would like to lift up the liner. I said, leave the liner alone, man. He said, man, I really would like to lift this bed cover up because I could get it in the way I want it. I don't want the TVs in sideways because when you're driving, it might mess up. I said, please just leave it alone. Just slide it in there, brother. Just go. This is not mine. I don't want nothing to happen to this. I don't know how to do that. To me, it looks like that should never come off. He says, this comes off. Believe me. Let me just lift it off. I said, I really would prefer you leave it alone, man. And the guy's looking at me like I'm crazy because to him it's like, man, this opens right. It was no deal. And he goes to do, and finally I just stopped fussing, and he goes on and does it and lifts it up and broke it. I did the same thing y'all did. I was ready to grab this brother up in the parking lot of the Best Buy, but then like he'll probably be at church on Sunday, so let me just. I said, hey, man, I told you, man, don't do that. I said, this is not mine. Y'all feel my pain? So I'm trying not to say anything, but I'm staring at him. He could feel what's coming out of me. And he's like, man, don't worry about it. I think I can fix it. I was like, leave it alone, man. Just get them in there. And he said, man, I'll pay for it. I said, look, man, you working here. You didn't come here to lose money today. You came up here to make money today. Go ahead, man. Just leave it alone. I'm good. Don't need no, man. Bless you, brother. See you. Good. And while I'm driving back, my blood pressure is up as I'm driving back. My plan was to take that truck back because I'm not an owner, I'm a manager. My plan was to take that truck back washed, take it back full tank of gas, bring that thing in, back it up in the driveway, hand him his keys, and him looking at it and be like, you could use it anytime you want to use it. You even got the armor all on there. But instead, I brought it back and had to go to his door, my shoulder slouched down and my head hanging down. And I said, Sean, come on out, man. I got to talk to you. He's like, man, is everything good? I said, man, just come on out. I got to talk. When I bring him out, I said, look, and I'm not going to try to pass it off. I said, I broke your thing, man. He looked at it, and he looked at me the way I looked at that guy. And he's like, and then he called him, so he's like, don't worry about it, Pastor. I said, look, Sean, just get it fixed. You got a place, whatever it costs, I'll take care of it, man. He said, Pastor, no, you're not going to give me any money. And he goes over and starts messing with it and fixed it. Oh, my goodness. I said, woo. I said, man, I will never even touch your truck again. I'm done with it. I'm so sorry. I put a tank of gas in there, man. It's a long story. It'll never happen again. Stewards are different than owners. You can't just do with it what you want. You can't treat it how you want. You can't just mess with it and jimmy with it, because you have to return it in a way that is at least in the way you received it. If you can, you want to return it even better. When God calls his whole creation very good, it means we have to stay in the role and the function that he put us in. And the role and the function that he put us in is steward, not owner. We don't get to exploit the earth. We don't get to redefine relationships. We don't get to do it the way we want. We don't get to do what makes us feel good. We don't get to say, well, that's just the way I felt about it. You don't get to do any of that. The moment that you do, you fracture and break the very goodness. And you can't restore it on your own because it's not yours and you didn't make it. Can I tell you, that's where we find ourselves today. We find ourselves in a world that has lost and corrupted the very goodness that God placed in it because they decided to try to define good on their own terms. Creation was never ours to redefine. It was never ours to exploit. It was never ours to try to make it a little bit better and do what we wanted. I couldn't bring Sean's truck back and say, hey, man, I took the whole liner off of there. And I put this on there because this looks better. Don't you like it? No, I was borrowing something. I was a steward. And creation, the relationship with God, the relationship with one another, the relationship with creation was ours to receive and steward over, extending the character of the one who gave it to us as we stewarded it here in the earth for him. It wasn't for us to do what we wanted the way we wanted and give it back, and we did. And when we did, in Eve and Adam, our spiritual ancestors, when we did that, we broke worship. Rather than saying, God, you're the only one that can define very good, we said we can. And we broke worship. We broke dependence. We broke interdependence. And that trickled down, and then we lost our identity. We lost our value. We lost the affirmation that came as a natural byproduct from working the way we were designed to work in creation. If we had just worked in creation and with the Creator the way we were designed to, creation itself and the Creator himself would have affirmed us. Because as we did what we were supposed to do, it would have produced what he intended it to do, and we would have felt a goodness that can't be experienced in any other way other than working in design the way we were created to work in the design. When that was broke, we started worshiping anything else. When that was broke, we started depending on anything else. We left worshiping and depending on the Creator, and we started worshiping and depending on the creation. And when we did that, it never is quite enough. It never quite hits the mark. It never quite gives the fulfillment that we want, and that's where we find ourselves at now. But our call and our ministry from the beginning was to guard. It was to preserve. It was to extend the goodness of God and not exploit it and not redefine it. It was a sacred call and a sacred ministry. We violated it and we lost it. And when we lost individual identity and purpose and wholeness, we lost trust and unity and equity with one another. Now we exploit each other trying to get what we only could get from God. Now we use each other and consume each other because we're not receiving what we need from God, so we parasitically try to get it from each other. We exploit the creation because even though I'm the richest man in the world, it's still not enough because the world can't give me what only God can give me. So I keep exploiting and enslaving and oppressing other people because I'm now working in a very good creation in a very wrong way. Somebody just say very good. And when humanity lost all of those things, we could no longer steward over ourselves or even creation the way that we were intended to. We could no longer bring the fruitfulness and flourishing that we were designed to bring in the earth. And it's the state we find ourselves in now. You say, well, Pastor, I came back to Jesus. I'm walking with Jesus. I'm in covenant with Jesus. I hear you. I know I am too. But without a clear sight of very goodness, we still function in a low grade type of individualism that makes me feel like I'm good. I hope you get good. But do you know that there's no such thing as good apart from one another? I got mine. I hope you get yours. But there's no such thing as even being able to get mine if we don't get ours, because we are tied together in ways that we don't even understand and know. I know our individualism wants to say, hey, that was Adam and Eve's issue. That wasn't my issue. I didn't do that. But when they did that, because we're all woven together, there's no such thing as individual sin. It's always corporate. Even if at midnight in the dark of your room, you do stuff you shouldn't have done, it makes you now see other people in ways you shouldn't see them. It makes you now interact with others in ways you shouldn't interact with them. And now that you see and interact in ways that you shouldn't, the symphony is broken, the harmony is off. No matter what we do, it ends up affecting all of us because all of us are either very good or we're not. There's a Jewish parable that catches this. It was one that became popular in the 13th and 14th century. You can look it up, Google it, and find it. It's called The Mirror, The Great Mirror. And the Jewish parable talks about there being a great mirror that was in the center of this village. And the mirror that was in the center of the village did more than just reflect people's faces. When people that lived in that village looked into the mirror, they not only saw the reflection of themselves, they saw the truth. The village could literally see themselves as they were. And every time someone came into the center of the village, looked into the mirror and saw the truth of who they really were, it caused the village to function in a higher level of wholeness, a higher level of goodness. But a tragedy happened and a war broke out and the mirror was shattered and lost. People had experienced so much other loss that they didn't even think to try to find and reconstruct or even begin that with the mirror. And people stopped coming to the center of town to look into the mirror to see themselves and the truth of who they really were because the mirror was gone. So they began to define truth for themselves. And as the people in the village lost the mirror and began to define truth for themselves, the village plummeted into confusion. The village plummeted into chaos. The village plummeted into corruption. They lived that way for generations, but the Jewish parable goes on to say that a child was born. The child seemed to be so special. The child had an inquisitiveness and a kindness about him that seemed like the child was more concerned about other than itself. The village hadn't seen anything like this. And the child happens to come across a shard of the great mirror. And as the child looks on the small fractured piece of the great mirror, the child sees themselves, but sees themselves in a way they never did. The child becomes enraptured with this mirror and begins to commit themselves to just living to find the other parts of this mirror. And the child finds parts of the mirror in all these obscure, unlikely places, and the child begins a restoration project of putting the mirror back together. And people begin to come again. People begin to come and look and see themselves in the mirror and break into weeping. They're like, I heard about this. I had heard there was something that we could look in and see more than just our own reflection, but see ourselves as we truly are. And the whole village got involved in the restoration project of the mirror. People began to look for pieces and shards. They began to make that their preoccupation, even over their occupation, to get the mirror back together so that they come back to the center of town, look on something to show them more than just their face, but they could see themselves as they really were. Never quite finished the project, but they did begin coming back to what they had begun to put together. And each time someone came in that chaotic, tumultuous, corrupted town, each time someone came and looked back on the mirror, even though the mirror wasn't even fully put together, each time they came, the town became a little more whole as they became a little more whole. The town became very good. It started moving in that path again. Can I tell you, Jesus is the mirror. Jesus literally says, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. I've never done anything of myself. If you saw me doing it, I was only doing what the Father said. Jesus is the reflection of God. But we were made in God's image and in God's likeness. And as we look on Jesus and his example, we can see ourselves again. Don't ever look on Jesus again and just say he was just a prophet. Don't ever look on Jesus again and say he was just a good teacher. Don't ever look on Jesus and say he was for people that are weak, that need those kind of things. We all need Jesus. Because apart from the mirror of Jesus, we can't see ourselves as we really are. Don't look on Jesus and say, I'm so glad I didn't have to take a cross. No, because the scriptures tell us, deny yourself. Take up your cross and follow Jesus. Why? Because we're not just here for our own goodness. There's no such thing. We're here for the goodness of others. Jesus lays down his life not because he had sinned, but because we did. What if we stopped laying down people for our own advantage and disadvantaged ourselves for other people? You know what would happen? Very goodness will begin to be restored again. But very goodness is built on man's relationship with God, then man's relationship with one another, then man's relationship with creation. Apart from the very goodness of those relationships, it can't be restored. Maybe you're here today